Welcome, friends. My name is Silas Ollegario, and I'm the host of Think Onward, a podcast about books, studies, productivity, and lifestyle. Now, after the intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Think Onward. I'm Silas. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for another week that you're here with me. I want to start by apologizing for not posting this on the correct day because I'm not recording in the proper day. I'm recording this episode one day after the day I was actually supposed to be posting this online. So I for that, I apologize. I want to have this thing of always producing content. And to produce content, you have to be able to do this consistently. And having a schedule is something that is very important, as I'm told. But I struggle with this sometimes. I don't want to. I swear it is not on purpose. I swear that what I want is actually post this podcast every Wednesday. Today, and for the past 3 or 4 weeks, I started recording the podcast with a video. But last week, I had a problem with my ring light. I tried to fix, but I couldn't, and then I had to order some tripod and ring light online. It is supposed to arrive tomorrow, as Amazon is saying. So that's why this episode is just being recorded as it was like months ago without a video. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're here listening to me. And I'm glad that is finally the time. I've been thinking about this episode, and I've been thinking about this specifically, this subject for a long time. But and of course, one of the reasons you probably follow this podcast is because we talk about books, and books is a big part of my life. And as I believe most people that listen to this podcast also love books. And one of the books that I love, one of the stories I love a lot, is A Song of Ice and Fire by George R. R. Martin. People know this by watching the TV series on HBO, Game of Thrones. And I want to talk about not the books, specifically the story of the books, nothing like that. I also don't want to talk about the TV series, but I want to talk about again reading, but a very specific thing that I found. I don't know, maybe 10 days ago, I discovered. I don't know. I really cannot. I don't know. Maybe I was going through Google and trying to find something, and I found this website that actually it helps you determine how long it's going to take for you to read a certain book. And but again, let me go back to the beginning. As you know, I love reading and I love books, and I love this kind of fantasy books a lot. I love productivity books and also fantasy books. And I decided that because my wife is rewatching the series, and sometimes I'm in the bedroom and she starts watching, and I look at it. It's so nice. It's so well produced. The story is so great, and it's so amazing. And I know because I've read the books years ago. Let me see, maybe 10 years ago, I started reading the books, and I got to the 5th book. And of course, I haven't finished the story because 2 books that are supposed to wrap up the story have not been released yet. And we're gonna talk about this also today. But I've read the books and I love this story. He is definitely maybe my favorite author. Maybe the second alongside J.K. Rowling, the woman from Harry Potter series. And of course, they are behind Tolkien because I don't know, that guy was a different kind of genius. But the thing is, I found this website because I was talking to a student of mine, and we were talking about books and about reading, about speed reading, about reading and understanding, whatever. And then I said, look, there's a difference between reading fast and not understanding, and makes actually, this is ridiculous because if you're gonna read fast just because you say you read fast, it makes no sense if you're not understanding what you're reading. And there's this website that you can actually prove that you read fast and you're actually understanding. I believe the average reader, native reader of English, reads 250 words per minute. I believe that's the average. I read around 267 words per minute, as my test said. So I actually use the average of 250 to do the math that I'm going to present to you. But before the website, reading length. Reading length is the website where you can go and have this test. You're going to read a bunch of stuff that they give you to read, and then answer a bunch of questions, so you can prove that you understood the text, and that way you can know just exactly how fast you can read, and then you put the name of the book, then find the book on Amazon, and then they count the words, and they'll look. By your average speed, it's gonna take you like 20 hours to read this book. So you can do the math. If I read for 1 hour, let's imagine you have you're gonna take 15 hours to finish reading this book. So if you read 1 hour a day, supposedly you're gonna finish in 15 days, correct? So I did this, and I decided to do this with a big series like Game of Thrones because it is the series I'm going to. I thought that I could start and finish this year, 2021, but I'm gonna start and almost finish because of this reading length. But let me go back to the numbers, and I'm sorry if this is gonna be boring for the next 2 minutes because I'm gonna say a lot of numbers, but I also wanna use the numbers to talk about the story and this kind of stuff in the book per se. Okay. So I went to readinglength.com. I used the 250 words per minute as an average and put the first book. The first book of this series, which is A Song of Ice and Fire, this big story released by George R. R. Martin. This story was, as he said, it was supposed to be a trilogy. He wanted to write three books on this story. And the first book, which is called A Game of Thrones, was released in 1996. But as he was writing the first book, he said, you know what, I think I'm going to take more than 3 books. But anyway, let me continue. And then he wrote the second book. And on the third book, he was far away from very far, very distant from his mind on actually finishing the story by then. And then, of course, the books were a huge success. So actually, people wanna read and they want new books and new this kind of stuff. So there's actually no problem having an extra book. And the company who produced, the producers say, yeah, that's great. Keep producing because we want to keep selling this book. And then originally it was supposed to be 5, and then he decided to go to 7 books. And as of today, as we understand, the 7th book is going to be the last that is going to wrap up this story, A Song of Ice and Fire. The thing is, after the first 3 books, 4th and 5th book, he took a while to start writing book number 6 because by the time these books were huge and he was supposed to start writing the new story, the TV series was released on HBO and became a huge success basically instantly all over the world, not just in America, not just in Europe, but all over the world. And with that came the necessity of explaining a little bit more of the world he created, the universe he created, which is basically Essos and Westeros, these both continents, fictional places. And remember, A Game of Thrones is a story that is supposedly in the Middle Ages, let's say like this. the mixture of dark ages with middle ages. They have their own time because it's a different world. Okay, people try to relate, and of course there are relations with our real world. But again, we have to think it's a fantasy book, fantasy story. Even the connections are not real connections; they are fictitious. And he wrote this book called Fire and Blood that is supposedly 300 years before the story that we are actually reading in Game of Thrones, or the Song of Ice and Fire, the story. It kind of gives us an idea of how the world was before the story and how those kings became those kings and those families, were established. But even then, he couldn't explain everything in just one book. Then another book was created, which is called A World of Ice and Fire. This book is very nice because it's not that long, but it contains pictures so people can get a glimpse on his mind and what he was thinking about. Because before that, all we could understand by the books were in our imagination, but also in the TV series. But now we have this book that actually explains every family and their people, who they came from, and how every city was established, and every kingdom, and every race, and everything. And this took a long time. And then some TV fans were upset because, oh my God, this guy has to finish the book because we want to know how the story ends. And because he didn't finish the book in time for the TV series, he was one of the producers of the TV series, which was a great thing, was a very smart thing to do. And he got together with the producers and he told the story on how he intended to go with the books so they could take a different direction towards the end. And just so the people who people could continue waiting for the books, be spoiled by the TV series. As it turns out, because he's such a genius, season 6, 7, and 8, the seasons, the last ones from TV, were a disgrace. When I say disgrace, I mean they were nice to certain characters because we kind of, when you watch something from the beginning, you kind of have this hope that oh my God, this guy's gonna change everything. But George R. R. Martin has this thing that if you like a character too much, he's gonna kill that character. He does this a lot. He did this a lot in the books, and of course, they translated that into the TV series. However, after he left, after they were completely away from the story from the books, this kind of things stopped happening. So we got more bad guys dying and fewer good people dying, And that's what happened. And people have been complaining, oh my God, when is this guy going to finish? But he's not in a hurry, because readers like us, we can wait. We have all the pages in the world because we want the story done and complete. And we want it to be finished fast and well, But the good thing is that, excuse me, my microphone. The good thing is that the books have a name. They don't have a release date already. Not yet. As of right now, October 7th, 2021. But they have a name, and so we kind of expect these book 6 and book 7 to be the last ones. Huge success, I hope. And because I am in a very huge expectation for the next books, I want to read again the 5 books, the series, plus the one that is supposedly 300 years before, and also the one that is about a world of ice and fire, which is put it into context, everything. And that's what I'm talking about here now, because this series, these books are long books. It's not a difficult reading, but there are a lot of names, a lot of places, and it's kind of easy to get lost when you have a lot of characters. and a lot of things happening in different kind of places. Just imagine like this: you have some story happen in the. Imagine the Queen Elizabeth, okay, in England, and everybody wants her throne, and there's some things developing in Scotland, and some people who wants her throne who are in Wales, another in the one who claims to be the one who deserves the throne that is currently in Italy. It is so far away, so it's so different. And in case you haven't watched the TV series, you can watch it. It's a very great show. But also, I would recommend you to buy on Amazon these books. And again, they are long books, but it's completely worth it. And after going to the website readinglength.com and putting every single book there, all the 5 books plus book number 6, plus book that is going to talk about the 300 years before story and the world of Ice and Fire, which explains everything. I have the number of how many hours and how long it's going to take for me. So before you have take the decision, oh, am I not going to read this? Remember, reading is something that is very nice, especially when you don't have a deadline. If you're just reading for pleasure, it's an amazing thing. These numbers are just so you can have an idea on how to organize yourself, and that's how I like to do, because I read for pleasure. But I also, if I have a very busy day and I have something going on, I don't read. I'm not gonna say it's a priority for me, because it's not. It's just something that I like to do, and I do it for fun. And if it's not fun, let's not do it, right? So let's go. What's the book number 1? The first book is A Game of Thrones. In this average speed reading, this average read speed, let's say, of 250 words per minute, it will take 19 hours and 39 minutes to read all 293,770 words and all 864 pages. Book 1, A Game of Thrones. The second book, A Clash of Kings, 25 hours and 35 minutes, 323,640 words, 1,040 pages. Book 3, A Storm of Swords, 27 hours and 35 minutes, 413,830 words. Wow, that's big. 1,216 pages. Book number 4, my favorite, A Feast for Crows, 19 hours and 38 minutes, 294,495 words, 1,104 pages. And the last book already released on this part of the series, A Dance with Dragons, 28 hours and 22 minutes, 525 words. 525,575 words, 1,152 pages. This is definitely the last. The book number 5 is the biggest one in this series. The original series. But then you have this one that was the last book released. I think it was released like 2 years ago. I can check this here. I don't actually remember. I'm not gonna find this right now, right? But anyway, and it's called Fire and Blood, because one of the main families in the story is a family. They have a lot of things to do with dragons and with death and all this kind of stuff. And this book tells their story, and that's why Fire and Blood, because they have everything to do with fire and blood. And it's 300 years before A Game of Thrones. It's a Targaryen story. That's the name of the family, and it's a prequel to A Song of Ice and Fire. And at a normal speed, you can read this book in 12 hours and 32 minutes, or read all this 188,000 words. In all, it's 752 pages. The book that I'm the most curious about is the one that talks about the world. And I have seen some videos on YouTube about this, and it got me even more curious to understand every single culture, every single place, and everything. which is the world of Ice and Fire, because of course it's gonna talk specific things about the world, so we can understand where the characters and why they think the way they think, and why they live where they live, why they were established there. The normal ones and the magical ones, and etc. It's called The Untold History of the World of Game of Thrones. It's not a very big book. It's just good enough so people can understand the story. 12 hours and 24 minutes. You can finish it. 185,890 words, 326 pages, which gives us a total of 6,454 pages, and also 2,125,200 words. We can sum it up here, and I wrote this down. Okay, I'm reading. 145 hours and 45 minutes, or 6 full days, a little bit more than 6 full days. 2.5 months. And I say 2.5 months because I'm trying to be realistic, and maybe reading 2 hours a day when you want to read something is a very good, period of reading. So me reading 2 hours a day, starting maybe tomorrow, I can finish this book in 2.5 months, give or take. Maybe a little closer to 3 months. And yes, I know counting words, counting pages might not be very, oh my God, you cannot read a book just thinking about the end. No, I understand that. But after reading so many books about productivity, I want to actually use the time, and I know something is possible. I'm very tired of being someone who tries and fails, because doesn't try hard enough. I don't want to be the guy who doesn't try hard enough. And I know now by looking at the numbers that it's totally possible. Reading this very big series of books in the time that I have, it's interesting, by the end of the year, maybe in theory, because it's October, by the end of the year, I can actually finish the book. However, the story. However, I don't think I'm gonna do it because, I'm a very big Kindle fan. But I believe some books you need to have them because they are part of a big story in literature, and of course, people might argue about every single book like this of a famous author or etc. But one of the series that I want to have physically is this Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, and I already have the first 2 books, A Game of Thrones and Clash of Kings. So I'm gonna have to buy the other ones. However, as you guys know, I'm moving to Canada. These books are so expensive in Brazil, but I know they are so cheap in Canada. At least that's what Amazon says. So I'm not gonna pay and having to exchange my money, my Brazilian money, to Canada or Canadian dollar, because it's not gonna be worth it for me. So I'm gonna buy all those books for Kindle because it's so much cheaper. But my idea is to have at least Fire and Blood and The World of Ice and Fire already. And I was checking on Amazon, The World of Ice and Fire is over 300 reais, which if it's expensive, okay? Just think about whatever currency you're listening, it's your country that you're listening this podcast from, 300 whatever currency it is, it's a lot, and that's how crazy prices are in Brazil. So that's it. This is me sharing. I know it's the second episode that I try to create some sort of accountability, which is the episode I talked about last week, remember? When I talk about losing weight. And I've been doing a good job, okay? I'm not tracking my weight as a lot. I've lost 1 kilogram in 1 week. But to be fair, I've been to the gym only 3 times because I started going to the gym again this week. But I think I'm doing a good job, okay? And I want to continue have this thing with you that I'm creating accountability. And now with the books the TV series, the series of Game of Thrones is gonna be the same thing. I'm so excited about this because I love this kind of readings, as you guys can tell by my voice probably, because I get so excited, I get so happy talking about this because it's gonna create a lot of content for me, because although I've read the books, when you read something like 10 years ago, it's kind of difficult to talk about them now. So this is me happy because of also because of the fact that it's gonna create a lot of stuff for me here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I'm sorry for all those parts I rambled on and made mistakes. No, it happens. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you got to me through the end. One more thing. I've been failing on posting on my YouTube channel. If you haven't, but I have a lot of videos there. So if you haven't followed, if you don't follow me there yet, just to go to Silas Ollegario, Ollegario, and I have tons of videos there. Just subscribe to my channel. A lot of nice content about music, about books, about productivity, about lifestyle. And I hope you guys enjoy. And I also hope you have a great week. I hope you have a great Thursday, great Friday, and enjoy life and keep reading, keep studying, keep moving forward, okay? That's it. See you. Bye-bye.